Hey there, fellow wargamers. It's your man. It's a Sentinel from across the tabletop. It's been a while. Christmas has just gone by. Family has taken a lot of my time up and other things. So let's get into it. We're back. We've got the brand new book with us today. It's the brand new Arks of Omen book. It was delivered yesterday. Had a quick look through it. There is a change that no one else so far that I've seen on the internet has pointed out for the Imperial Fists. Hopefully when you get your books over the next few days, have a look at it. It's the new secondary for the Imperial Fist. It's the same secondary, so it's still bolster barricades, which is the name of the secondary, but the change in one word has been added to it, or two words have been added to it, which is a massive change because it reads the same now as, say, doing banners. So it's one or more infantry fists, core infantry can do this. So it's one or more Imperial Fist core infantry units from your army can start to perform this action. So that essentially means now, instead of having to do one unit to do one objective and get the 4 points for bolster barricades, we can now do all of the objectives in no man's land and our home objective at turn one all at the same time, and then turn two we receive 13 points. Now this only works if there's 3 objectives in no man's land, but and the one in our home, which which is half of the missions, which is 5 objectives on the table, and then there's only data salvage and tide of conviction, which are 6 objectives, and 2 of those are in the 4 in data salvage is really quite interesting. There are 3 objectives that are going to make it difficult for the enemy to get onto, and then the 4th objective is still going to be quite tricky to hold, do the action and not be countered. This secondary is only going to be useful if we're going to go first. I think it's going to be difficult to do if you're going to go second. So it's an all or nothing secondary, unfortunately for the Imperial Fists, unless you build a very heavy infantry army like Terminators or heavy intercessors. These are core infantry, so Centurions can't do it. There's a few units in the book like Servitors won't be able to do it because they're not core and things like that. But if you can imagine having a large heavy infantry based 2,000 point army for this is a secondary that is now, I think, potentially, well, it definitely has the potential to be more beneficial. It is still frustrating that you still have to wait till your next command phase to be completed, so you have the opportunity to be killed off that objective or charged and then wiped off. Lucky enough, you don't have to be in control of it. You just have to be still within it when the action started, so you could lose the objective to the opponent and still get the action off, which is, I think, is huge. I played it the other night, potentially had the opportunity to get 13 points against the Custodes army. He was playing Dread Host, so Rich had an incredible, I think it was a 9-inch rerollable charge, and he made it with a reroll, so he was able to kill me off there. But the second unit that he charged in to stop me on that one, I deployed a little bit wrong. He only had a 7. It should have been more of a 9-inch charge. And with the re-rolls, he did roll the distance he needed. And if I'd have redeployed a little bit better to make it harder, I would have still held that one. That would have produced me 9, and then potential to focus into the middle to get the 13. But he did really well. He didn't actually kill one of my units off completely. I failed a morale check. So it was a 50-50. I should have really spent the 2 CP. At the time, I'd already given him the extra armor save from being within the objective. So bolster defenses, unyielding stratagem, which gave him the extra armor save. They had a feel no pain, and transhuman. So I pretty much used all my CP to not let them die in the combat, because Dread Hosts get an extra AP, so they're AP 4 when they're in combat. They're nasty. And it was only infiltrators. He'd already taken the first failed armor save away as well, so that was a bit frustrating with shooting. And I had my sergeant left at the time, and that was with a 4-man, so it was 12 attacks. 4-man sword and board team with transhuman. So it is possible to stick an infiltrator unit with now the upgrades for the free Helix Gauntlet to give them that first failed armor save. Ignore. It is possible to have an infiltrator unit on an objective in no man's land doing the action turn 1 and still be there in the command phase, with the potential then to score on your maximum and then just move on to other secondaries. The issue I found with it because you're now trying to hold the objectives and not push through them, behind enemy lines becomes a little bit more trickier with the units that you're deploying in no man's land. But we'll get to that another day. I just wanted to mention that. I just wanted to put that out, that the Imperial Fists Secondary has changed to the benefit for Imperial Fist, but I still don't think it's going to be one that we can rely on. We're still looking at the moment being the best objectives out there for us. Codex Warfare, huge. Stay in the Tactical Doctrine, Devastator Doctrine. Build the list to do Devastator Doctrine, and it'll all be fun and interesting. And then the second one is going to be probably behind enemy lines if we can build to it, or the one where we take the objectives off them. Shock Tactics. Shock Tactics is a quite interesting build if you can put in some Terminators with Storm Shields, or you go with the whole heavy support, moving fast aggressors, eradicators or suppressors, attack bites with multi-melters, land speeders. You know, if we can get onto the objective, kill the unit off the objective, we control it, and then we move off it next turn, and then we can trade that way. Middle is always going to be a trading game. It's just having those units to trade with. But I think now we have the potential to do Shock Tactics more comfortably. The fact that we have more reliability to kill the enemy off the objectives now with our AP2 damage weapons across the board, essentially, with the heavy bolters and the auto cannon on the Leviathan that we loved in 8th edition has now just come back in its own with its flat 2 damage, going up to 3 on the vehicles. It, in my opinion, I'll go through a list that I'm putting together anyway, but I just wanted to drop that. I will hopefully put something together soon, coming up with some of the greatest lists that I can come up with. We've got a couple of tournaments. We've still got the team tournament to talk about that's coming up in February, the international team one at Northampton, and the breakdown of lists that we're going to be taking that in the team. So stay tuned and hopefully look out for some more. Take care and bye bye.